and gentlemen, once again, you know who it is? It is I, Coach Goo, and we're back with another fun-filled, action-packed flip geometry classroom video. So today, we're going to be doing rhombi and squares. So we're moving on in the world of parallelograms, quadrilaterals. We're going to be learning about rhombi and squares. You know, on this page it actually says rectangles, but we already did rectangles, so no one wants to see that again. So we're going to do rhombi, which is the plural form of rhombus. So starting with a rhombus, let's fill out these blanks. A rhombus is a parallelogram. Whoa, it's also a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. And the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular. That means they intersect at a 90-degree angle. At a 90-degree angle. And the diagonals of a rhombus bisect a pair of opposite angles. So, if we look at this picture right here, there's the rhombus right here. Now the diagonals, watch this, watch me. Watch me. So here's one diagonal from B to D. Okay, that was a little off, but here's the other diagonal from A to C. Now, this rhombus, these diagonals, they intersect at 90 degrees. They're perpendicular, so boom, 90, and they always bisect a pair of opposite angles. That means that it makes, watch, this angle right here, boom, these are now congruent. Boom, these are now congruent, but they're actually going to be the same, so I'm just going to draw like this. Boom, those are congruent. And then, bam, those are congruent to each other. And then, boom, this is congruent. So, that's what the diagonals in a rhombus does. And let's make a note here that the diagonals in a rhombus make 4 congruent triangles. So as you can see, these diagonals, they actually make 4 triangles that are all exactly the same. Now I didn't label something. What did I not label? There are 4 congruent sides. So now I'm going to label that all sides are congruent. So you can see there are 4 congruent triangles created by the diagonals. So let's see how we would use these properties in this problem. So look at this one over here. Home is a rhombus. That's H-O-M-E. Find the values of A, B, and C. So if you take a look at here, A, that's going to be congruent to this 3 right here. So A equals 3. Okay, B is going to be congruent to the 4 right here. So B is 4. And then C is right here. We're going to have to use our properties of our right triangles. Remember, these are all right triangles. That's because we know that they are perpendicular. To find C. C is the same as this length right here. So we have a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. C is going to be 5. If you want to know how I found that, you can know your Pythagorean triples, or you could do A squared, 3 squared plus B squared, 4 squared equals C squared. That's 9 plus 16 equals C squared. That's 25 equals C squared. That means 5 equals C. Boom. Like that. Gosh, Coach Scoo, you're so cool, man. How'd you do it so fast? All right, and the next one. All right, now this one over here. Find the measures of the numbered angles in the rhombus. So let's just look at what we know very easy. This 54 is going to be the same as the 3 right there. So measure of angle 3 equals 54 degrees. Okay, measure of angle 2, that's an easy one because remember it's always perpendicular right there. So measure of angle 2 is 90 degrees, okay? Now, you got to know this is 90 degrees, okay? And then right here, this is actually the same as 3. So that's also 54. And now, you can see in my triangle, I got 90 degrees plus 54 degrees. That's 144 degrees. So what does 1 have to be? What does measure of angle 1 have to be? The total is 180 in a triangle, so 180 minus 144, 36. So the measure of angle 1 equals 36 degrees. And then finally, measure of angle 4 is the same as the measure of angle 1. So the measure of angle 4 is also 36 degrees. Bam! We're done with the rhombus. Second topic of the day, a square. A square is a parallelogram. It is also a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. Okay, just like a rhombus, it's got 4 congruent sides, but it also has 4 right angles. Wow. So now let's fill in this chart down here. A square is both a rhombus. Oh, Jesus, how do I spell it? Rhombus and a square. A square is both a rhombus and a square. Okay? The diagonals of a square are perpendicular. That means they intersect at 90 degrees. The diagonals of a square bisect a pair of opposite angles, just like the rhombus. And the diagonals of a square are congruent. So that is different, congruent. Because remember, rhombus is just like a diamond. So it could be like this. And you can see my diagonals, they're not equal length here. But in a square, they're always going to be equal. So if I draw on my diagonals on this square down here, let me make it as perfect as possible. AC is one of my diagonals. Bam. And then BD is my other diagonal. Now, what do the properties tell us? The diagonals of a square are perpendicular. That means 90 degrees. Bam. Okay, the diagonals of a square bisect a pair of opposite angles. That means it's going to tell us that these angles are the same, and that would be the same as these. But remember, a square has 4 right angles, so all of those angles are going to be the same. Then we know that all 4 sides are congruent as well. So there you go. So let's use these properties to find some answers. All right, so find the measure of angle SQE. So watch this, S to Q to E. That means they're looking for this angle right here, okay? So that means the measure of SQE right there is gonna be 45. Remember, the diagonal cuts the angle in half, and every angle is a right angle in a square. And if you cut 90 degrees in half, it's going to be 45 degrees. So the measure of angle SQE equals 45 degrees. Now, in that case, they want us to solve for x. And so this angle right here is also 45 degrees. Remember, they're all the same in a square. So we're going to set it congruent. 12x minus 15 equals 45. And then because it's 45 degrees, now we're going to solve for x. Add 15 to both sides. 12x equals 60 divided by 12 on both sides. And x equals 5. Boom! Okay, last one. Now we're finding the length of AD on this square over here. Remember, diagonals bisect each other, which means that these are the same. But since this is a square, they're all the same. So that means that we can set our equation 2x plus 2 equals, what are we going to put? 5x minus 34. And then we're just going to solve for x. So if we add 34 to both sides, boom, oh, whoops, 34, bam, that's 2x equals 5. Wow, what am I doing? That's 2x plus 36 equals 5x. Subtract 2x from both sides. 36 equals 3x divided by 3 on both sides. And 12 equals x. Boom. Alrighty, so that is the end of these notes. Now we know all about rhombi, rectangles, and squares. So until next time, see ya, peace!